All right, let's see what we got here. I heard the beep, so hopefully we are good. Hey, what's going on, party people? Hopefully you guys should be able to hear me. Now, if this is your first time here, welcome. It's definitely a great pleasure to have you here. I go by the name of Lespri. I am a spiritual healer, and essentially, what I do as a spiritual healer is that I help people to attain their highest level of consciousness. And what that is pretty much, it's another way of me saying I help you to become Christ-like, Buddha-like, Krishna like, or, because when we're talking about attaining your highest level of consciousness, these people or these figures, they are the perfect representation of what that is. That's why you could see, if you know anything about their life, you could see, their starting point, what they had to do, their trials and tribulations, and what they had to overcome, but also, you get to understand, what they have to face, and which also in another way symbolizes you because as you become the Christ yourself, you're going to have to go through that. Through your Judas, to your betrayal, to your, what I'm saying, people or whatever the fuck the situation is, as you are claiming your true power or you becoming more of yourself. So that whole story, or as you become awakened, now you become the Buddha, meaning now you're able to see, what's going on, what I'm saying, around you through your meditation, whatever the situation is. But the ultimate thing is, being Christ-like or Krishna-like, what that truly means, it's you attaining the highest level of consciousness. Where now you know who you are, and you become like them to a point where now you become the message that they had because they became that message. Now you're not only spreading that same message, but you also became that message as well. So it's a practical thing, like to be Christ-like or to attain your highest level of consciousness. It's really, it's a practical thing. It's an actualization type of thing. But anyway, in a nutshell, that's what I do. Now, in this channel, to give is to receive, I use what I call the power of words to actually help you to expand your consciousness. So now, what do I mean by the power of words, right? So when I'm talking about the power of words, what I'm actually talking about here is is what you call, let's say, quotes, proverbs, or old saying, wise saying. And why do I call this the power of words? Because, for me personally, I get to, it's almost like, you get to see, and even like if you ever been inspired or motivated or enlightened by any type of quote, that alone should let you know. You are not a victim, but you're a witness of the power of the world. Of the word, meaning you you get to see the intelligence that's being displayed in those statements. And if you any well, if I was gonna say if you're anything like me, but you don't have to be anything like me because I'm you and you me. That's why a lot of us, when we see those quotes, we automatically either being inspired by it. You just know the minute you come across it. You read it, you're like, oh, that's beautiful. But just you saying that's beautiful, or you being inspired, or you being motivated, or enlightened, it's just showing you how powerful these things are. So the one thing that I noticed, right, and another thing that I also learned from these things or those statements or the power of the words is that it's not necessarily the meaning of the words that makes it powerful. Because we could talk about love, we could talk about this, we could talk about that, or I know most people would say, watch what you say. This is all good. However, when we're truly talking about the power of words, what you realize is it's not what is being. It's not what it. It's not necessarily what is said, but it's how it's being said. And the how, that's where the magic is. Because if you ever read, any of those quotes or any of those proverbs, it's almost like it demands your attention because it bypass your subconscious. I mean, your conscious mind. It automatically gets you to be like you paying attention. So it makes you more receptive at the same time. And now, that you become receptive and your mind's been captivated. Now you got the ability to delve into those statements because they're fully packed with a lot of wisdom. So to me, so when we're talking about the power of words, it's quotes to me. It's and you see the same thing in poetry. You see it in lyricism or raps, or you can also see it in proverb too. I mean, although all of these things are different respectively, but why am I referring to these things is because of how they're being. It's how these words are being said. When you listen to rap music, certain lyrics that you hear, how it's being said, that's when you go like, that was fire. Oh, I like that. Right? Or if poetry, it all comes down to how those words are being put together. And that's the magic, truly. And that's what I call the power of words. And another thing about these things too, it's like you see how it has the ability to captivate your mind, make you a lot more receptive. Now, here's something else. It also gives you the opportunity or the ability to retain that information without even having to go through certain experiences. Do you see what I'm saying? So, I mean, these are win-win situations, like if you're asking me. So that's why I always tell people, too, this is probably the only shortcut you'll ever get. There's no other shortcuts in terms of we all have to learn. You got to go through the process one way or another. You know what I'm saying? Willingly or unwillingly. It's either now you transform or, you technically destroying yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's on you. But anyway, of course, being conscious plays a big part. And that's why the name of the game is for you to become conscious. And that's why your purpose, and my purpose as a spiritual healer is to help you to attain your highest level of consciousness. Anyway, so that's that. That's what I do here, and that's what we do here. So, as a disclaimer, I always like to let people know when it comes to those quotes, like to me, like I always say, wisdom is wisdom, regardless of where it comes from. Meaning, let's just hypothetically say, a 3-year-old says something that's true, right? And there's something, I mean, it's not going to make it less true because it came out of a 3-year-old mouth. So I'm saying that to say, I mean, listen, man, like, the truth is everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's why for me, I can't really put myself in the box. If you know what I'm saying that to say, a lot of those quotes, listen, they would be coming from Christianity. In fact, the one I'm going to be talking about here tonight is a Persian proverb. I mean, it's very common. I notice a lot of other people say it too, but they say it in different ways. But nevertheless, it's Persian. I've used quotes from Buddha. I mean, from Buddha, Hinduism. I mean, wisdom is wisdom, man. You know what I'm saying? I'll let you handle that. But, the truth is the truth. I use it from the Bible. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. As long as, there's something deep in it I could learn from, that's all I worry about. So, as a disclaimer, I just wanted you to know that. Now, with all of that being said, with no further ado, let's do what we came here to do, right? So now, if you're coming back, I definitely got to shout you out. And by the way, guys, I also check out my other channel, Lespri. On that channel, I don't really use a lot of quotes. Like, this is more, I guess, a formal me, if that makes any sense. But on the other channel, we go live and live. We drink, we smoke, we talk our shit. And of course, it's the same thing ultimately. However, the process is a little bit different. Whereas, again, the goal is to help you to attain your highest level of consciousness. That's what I do there. So I go a little more in depth in certain things. Whereas over here, I also do the same thing, but relating to those quotes. If you're asking me tomatoes, tomatoes, you know what I'm saying? I'm just exploring my options. So, welcome back. If you're coming back, come get your medicine. You know exactly what we do here. You know, if you're sipping, yeah, we ain't judging neither. You know, so, what we're here to talk about tonight, guys, is that as you'll see, it will be somewhere over here or over there. You know, when I do the edit, I'll figure out, you know. But anyway, yesterday I was clever. I wanted to change the world. Today, I am wise. I'm changing myself. So, oh my God, like this shit here, it's this statement right here. I mean, it's there's a lot of things that are being said here. First of all, I mean the play on words here, right? So it's almost like, what the fuck? Like I was clever, I wanted to change the world. Now that I'm wise, I want to change myself. I mean, it's almost like, are we? Do you see what I'm saying? Now, and here's something else too. I really think this statement here is like it's underrated. I think some people talk about it or listen to it, but don't really fully grasp everything that's being said here because there's a whole bunch of shit that's being said. And first of all, and also I guess what I was saying earlier, you know, just so I mean, it may sound a little bit confusing, right? Because you're thinking, I mean, at first, right? If you're gonna be clever, you want to change the world. Now, being wise, where would you sort of like, you know, find a better method? I mean, which is a better method? But anyway, but I mean, oh man, let's just work to it. I'm trying to build it up for a little bit, right? So why not finding a better method? You know, then it's almost like you went from trying to help the world and now you're being selfish. It's almost like what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, whoa, I mean, so much for trying to be clever. You know what I'm saying? But again, but that's the beauty of it too, though. You know what I'm saying? When you get to decipher everything that's really being said here, then you go like, it's not what it appears to be. And this is also a perfect example of paradox too. Whereas in those paradox, and there's a deeper truth that's being said here. In fact, what truly this is saying, if I were to go back to finding a better method, that's exactly what it is. But it could throw you off a little bit because now you choose to change yourself. But anyway, so that's the one aspect of it, right? Now, being clever now, like I always tell people, right? Because most people, you know, are not thinking about changing the world, man. Like, if you know anyone who knows anybody, you know what I'm saying? If you know bodies that catch bodies, then you understand most people all about dick and pussy. Meaning, you know what I'm saying? It's eat and drink. Not doesn't have to be alcohol, but you know, eat and drink. They mostly follow along. They're mostly followers instead of making a change. So the idea of even you willing to change the world, now, congratulations, and that's what makes you clever. You know, because now you're looking a little bit further than what's in front of you. Or maybe at least you have the understanding of, listen, you know, we are somehow, you know, the change that has to be done. But that's what I'm going to be talking about on the second part of it. You know, not to get ahead of myself here, but again, it's almost like, I mean, it's so obvious too. So I guess I'm telling to myself a little bit. But the truth is the fucking truth too, right? But anyway, it's almost like, and I'll give you a perfect example, right? So since election is coming up, and yes, I'm not gonna touch on any of that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave it right there. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying that to say, you know, I know for me, I've met people who always been like, well, you know what, like let's be socially, you know, involved. You know, you gotta vote. You know, we are all concerned. because everything has an impact on you. This is beautiful. That's a great start. What I'm saying? Like I always tell them, that's a great start. However, it doesn't really work that way because as you can see, okay, so if you want to talk about vote, right? So, I mean, isn't it the same story every 4 or 8 years? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like the country's about to crumble, it's about to fall. Then you need a Jesus to come back and bring life to it. And that Jesus, although you guys don't call it that way, but it's your savior. Who's gonna save America? You know what I'm saying? Because Trump's gonna fuck it up. Somebody gotta save it. And Obama was that savior. You know what I'm saying? How is that savior saving you, motherfucker? And again, just so you guys know, and this is real shit, right? The purpose of me saying all of this is not about fuck government shit. It's not about none of that shit. This is for your educational purposes as part of you understanding your environment here. That's what this shit. If anything, in fact, if you want to talk about socially involved, motherfucker, I'm highly fucking involved. Not in your bullshit because you don't understand what you're saying. But it's clever. I mean, at least, it's more than dick and pussy. So that's why for me, I always take it in. You know what I'm saying? And like I always tell people too, everybody's doing God's work. The level is different. I get it. Do you see what I'm saying? While you're looking for somebody to actually help you, I'm helping you to help you. Or any other ascended masters or any spiritual. If anything, the government should be working with us. Because we're truly the ones who has compassion, who truly love people for who they are, who have no competition. You know what I'm saying? So we're already making this world a better place just by us being us. So I'm saying that to say, because I know, sometimes people always try to, I know for me, sometimes I definitely get that, like, it's almost like I'm getting the like you don't really care about people. Like, no, motherfucker. The people you think who cares about you, those are the ones who don't give a fuck about you. They just need your vote. So again, this is not to tell you not to vote or to vote, whatever the fuck. This is not going after no government. I don't give a fuck. But I give a whole lot of fucks about you. You know what I'm saying? Even when you don't even give a fuck about you. So I'm saying that to say, and here's the thing too, and that's how I know you don't even understand what you're saying, right? Because I've had people that tells me, what I'm saying, every institution, call it whatever the fuck, the government, the state, what I'm saying, in every institution, it's not about change. Let me say that again. Because the way they survive is through building a system. And that's what you see, and that's what the Constitution is and all that shit. Do you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Again, this is not to go against it, but for you to understand, even shit, I support it. You know what I'm saying? To a degree, you know what I'm saying? But I know it doesn't work. But the idea behind it, I get it. And in so many words too, just so you guys know, that's why it's important for you to understand spiritual laws. Because what spiritual laws are doing, they're pretty much helping you to, this is how you get what you want to get. I'll give you a perfect example. A lot of people think, let's just say, if you truly want a good relationship, right? You don't seek for the right partner. That's also part of it. But most importantly, what I'm trying to say here is that you have to become the change. You have to be a better person. And besides, a relationship is exactly what it is. You're not going to have a great relationship and you're a fucking asshole. That's why I always tell people too, man, what's the point of seeking relationship advice? What you really need is you to become better. Because when you become better yourself, you can see other people's game, you can see other people everything. You can see their shortcomings. And when you go for yourself, I mean, you're gonna love you regardless. So with that, I mean, that's already giving you, you know what I'm saying, like a head start. So now for you to analyze and really respect people too. And here's something else too. That's why there's nothing. I mean, the true change has to come from you, right? So I was gonna make a point. To have a good relationship, you have to be a good listener. But to be a great listener or a good listener, however you want to put it, that entails you have to work on you. You got to know yourself to a point where you're not projecting yourself, positive or negative, but instead you are listening to that other person, where they're coming from, not where you're coming from. So again, this is what I'm saying. So that's why even to be in a good relationship, like there's nothing that could be done without you, because regardless on how you look at it, you are the way. You can either build or destroy. So going back now, and this is how deep this shit is. Now going back to that statement, so yes, you are clever because you want to change the world, which is good. You know, don't stop. The only thing I'll tell you, like that's why these people, I support them. Although you may feel like, you know what I'm saying, I just don't give a fuck, you know, but you see, this is the compassion too. I love you in ways you don't even know. But to be honest, that's because I love me. Right? So, but anyway, right? So, yeah, so you are clever. So don't stop there. If you involved in whatever the fuck in the community, you talking to people, kudos, keep doing that. Because guess what the fuck do you think I'm doing here? But now the method is a little bit different. The content is a lot different. Because now, this is when we're going to jump into the second part now. Today that I'm wise. And whenever that today is going to be for you, you know, then you understand the world that you're looking to change, you have to change. Because if you don't change, how is the world going to change? Because isn't it us that makes the world the way it is? It is you. It's you, it's me. How do you change the situation if you don't change yourself? This is crazy. Just like for you to think critically, you got to become critical. You understand what I'm saying? So, in fact, what this is truly, it may sound a little bit confusing or as a paradox, but the truth is, and it's exactly what it is. Now I became wise. So now I know how to get it, how to fulfill what I truly wanted to do. And that is by you changing you. You know, if you're saying, even as a parent, if you're saying, you know what, you know, I didn't like what happened to me, you know, as a child, you know, well, if you're going to make a difference, that means you're going to have to treat your kids differently. That also means you're going to have to understand or have a different understanding of your parents too. In the occult, there's a term that we use. It says, for you to be you, you have to kill your parents. So you would have, well, of course, not literally. I mean, because nowadays you never know. Nowadays you never know. So you always got to be, you know what I'm saying? Because niggas were just like, nigga, like, hey, I get it. You know what I'm saying? No, not literally. And again, back to what I was saying before too. I'm not here to go against no fucking government, none of that shit. Okay? Disclaimer. You know what I'm saying? But again, this is due to it. It is what it is, but it's okay. You know what I'm saying? I got you. You know, so you have to become the change. Anything that you're trying to do, it's like it's got to be you. If it ain't you, because we are the way. When Jesus said, I am the way and the truth, oh, best believe you are. Now, you could choose to be the way and the lie, or you could choose to be destructive to you. You know what I'm saying? And of course, not consciously. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's consciously or unconsciously. I mean, that's why hey, man, we all got to put up with our actions. You know what I'm saying? That goes for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's better for you to wake up. So that way, you know what I'm saying, you know how to deal. You become more, you master yourself so you can master karma as well. And this is why, too, when you attain that Krishna consciousness or the Christ consciousness, that's truly how now you escape karma, if that makes any sense. Because now you become in alignment. Your actions is no longer just actions in terms of reactions or in terms of a response or in terms of ignorance, but now you're flowing just the same way the universe is flowing. Now you became one with nature. Now you understand you're gonna rip what you sow. So therefore, I mean, you become this vessel now. It's just a whole different ball game. Now you in the game, you winning. You know what I'm saying? So again, I wanted to touch on this statement. I mean, I hear it a lot, and I feel like a lot of people talk about it too. But yet again, we never really talk about how deep this is, because truly, what this is also, oh man, also talking about is true change can only be done through you. I mean, it would be kind of even if you're deceiving people, even if you're lying to people, right? Yeah, I mean, you got to give them something else, and you got to act like it too. Do you see what I'm saying? Isn't and that's the way people believe in other people. See, nevertheless, like regardless on how you want to put it, you got to be the change. Now, I mean, whether you're faking it or not, but you know, even to deceive others, you got to act a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So again, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be. I mean, and that's why I always tell people too, man. When you understand this about you, then you understand your essence. And when you understand your essence, and that's why I always tell people too, like it doesn't matter if you talk about Jesus. In fact, talking about him ain't gonna do shit for you. But being about Jesus is different. And that means you would have to speak like him, sound like him. I mean, hopefully it's not, I mean, the idea, I'm trying to tell you something here. Become him. Because you definitely don't want to deceive yourself neither, do you? I mean, I guess we're doing a whole lot of that already. Give yourself a break, goddammit. Well, I mean, I don't know if you know you deserve it or not, but I don't know. Like, how has it been working out for you? And that will give you the answer, either if you're deceiving yourself or not. But the bottom line is this here, man. Again, it's just so many different ways we all come back to us. And in fact, on my other channel, I have this recording that I did. I was talking about how to identify your spiritual teachers. And what that pretty much entails, it doesn't matter if you Buddhist, none of that shit. It really comes down to two things. You have the teachers that are telling you how to behave. And then now you have the teachers that's telling you about you. Because when you truly change, you don't need nobody. You don't have to act like you ethical in front of people. Because you're not living that. And that's what we see in the people who are teaching you how to act. That's why a lot of these motherfuckers who always, your TD Jakes, telling you all that shit, and then allegedly, you know what I'm saying, he's down with Didi. And again, I'm not rejoicing here. I'm not saying none of that shit. But I'm trying to get you to see, you know, those to recognize those actual behaviors. You see that shit in with pastors, with priests, and again, this is what I'm saying because of their teaching. It's teaching you how to behave. And of course, it sounds good, it sounds ethical, it's the right thing to do, and all that shit. But when you become you, though, now that's the right thing to really do. Because now you have true compassion. When you understand your nature, you know what I'm saying? Now you become in alignment with those divine qualities in you. Ain't nobody got to tell you shit. You know what's right. Not just that, you being that. So much so to a point, that's why for me, like, even though I'm talking about this shit, I can't even judge no fucking body. I drink, I smoke, so what? You know, you say whatever the fuck you want. You know what I'm saying? And here's something else too, and I learned that very early on in life. You have a guy like Eddie Murphy who's talking all that shit. Dick, pussy, holding his dick, balls, cursing, and all that shit, right? And then look at the life that he's living. A father, man. And he also talked about too. I mean, if you want to talk about America's dad, I mean, I'm not gonna go that far to say, but you know what I'm saying. But anyway, then now check out Bill Cosby on the other end, giving you all that. You know what I'm saying. You shouldn't be saying this to speak proper. You do that. You do that. Those are always the motherfuckers you want to stay away from. Do you see it? Did you get it? And that's why I always tell people too, and not just that, but people who's like us, meaning in terms of who understand that they are the change. We're not afraid of talking about, our fucking mistakes, because I'm being me. What else can I be? In fact, the mistakes that I made, shit, it got me here, nigga. So we always have that open heart, that truth. That's why niggas like us, you know what I'm saying, we talk all shit, but again, I'm not even gonna say I'm fucking ethical. I know what I know. You know what I'm saying? But the motherfucker on the flip side of it, who would not even, you know what I'm saying, say certain words. It's always them. So again, you choose whoever you would rather be. But I could tell you this much: being yourself makes a difference. And those are the people, when you change you, that's really making a change in this world. Because they're not just talking about the change. They are being about the change. They are being it. And talking about the change too, if you being fucked up, like, it's not gonna make any fucking difference. And that's why that shit doesn't work anyway. You know, that's why it doesn't work anyway. So again, this is how deep that statement is to me, because it's again, everything that we just mentioned here, whether we talked about the government, even all of that shit here, it's all stems, if you truly understand what that statement is telling you. True change. You really want to help somebody, change you, man. You want to change the Mike already gave you the game. And yes, and no, loving yourself is not selfish. I see, and I always like to take my time and talk about this shit. I got time today; it's only half an hour, so. But we're gonna keep it short too, though. But like, selfish and self-love are two total different things. I understand it's about the self, but they are totally different. And the difference is, is as follow, right? When you selfish, yes, you're looking out for yourself, but the only thing you're concerned about you is the external part of you. That's why you would step on anybody, you would do anything to get the things, yes, for you, but just you're only concerned with your external part or your external aspect of you. Now, when you have self love, now, let me say it again. You have self love. We're talking about your self esteem, not image, your divine qualities. This is you now knowing who you are as part of it, supporting you, loving you, embracing you. Now, when you do that, it opens you up differently. Now, because you recognize these things in you, when you look at somebody else, that's what you look for. So I'm not here to step on your toes. How are you doing? Or if I did step on your toes, because now I'm concerned with those internal qualities, I apologize, or I didn't mean to step on you. It's two different things. It's two different worlds. And when you have self-love, and of course, that's what true love is all about too. Because now you're looking at someone else for their qualities. Not for what they look like. Not for the amount of money that they have. I mean, although, I mean, it could be that too. But you're not limited to it. It doesn't define you. I mean, why not? I mean, shit. If you could be with somebody that has money, and I mean, why the fuck not? Why the fuck not? You know what I'm saying? But if there's no divine quality in that person, now you have reason to get the fuck out. I mean, it's no. It's a hell no. So again, and just like I always tell people too, it's the same thing when we talk about money. You know, when you know who you are, I mean, we're not against money. We're not saying fuck money. Oh, you don't need money. No, we understand it there's listen, first of all, money's being printed. Do you understand that? If you don't see or look at it from energetic perspective, let's look at it. Let's dumb it down. You know money's printed. Well, if you do, then do you see what I'm saying? So you make money. Money don't make you. So I'm saying that to say again, it's us over anything. Isn't it all of these things are to sustain our life? That's what I always tell people, man. Money is a good bitch. And you do not make her your fucking master. Terrible master. But a great bitch. And you gotta treat a bitch like a bitch. Make sure she remains a bitch. If she's a bitch. If she's not a bitch, that's different. And money's a good bitch. A great servant. Nothing else. So again, it all goes down to the self. You are the way and the truth. And that's the truth that you are. When you become that, that's what makes you the truth. And you are the way because nothing takes place without you, baby. I don't give a fuck if you're destroying yourself or you building on yourself. And that's the reason too, like the whole idea of devaluing yourself. It's a myth if you want to talk about myth. It's fiction. You know, ironically, you know what I'm saying? I remember, back in college, I had to do this paper. I was talking about fiction and nonfiction. And that's when I'm like, oh shit. A lot of you motherfuckers are living a fictional life.
and you claim it to be nonfiction. I mean, how is it nonfiction if you think money's everything? You tell me. And money's being printed too. You print money. Oh, Jesus. Guys, please help me. I need help. You know what I'm saying? And here's the thing. That's why the people are perishing due to ignorance. But anyway, we're not gonna make this too long. It's almost about an hour, and you already know, brother. Gotta do what brother gotta do. Um, yeah, man. Yesterday I was clever, and this is also to say too, you build on smarts too. At one point, because for a very long time, I used to be very hard on myself. Self discipline, and I wanted to do this, do that. What I'm saying, going to college. And if anybody you do that, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost like you feel like the only way to do things it would be discipline, and not understanding discipline is truly you being your self disciple. So, of course, you claim to do it, but yourself, your inner self disciple. But anyway, so I don't forget the point that I was making, because I could go from naked. Anyway, so I used to be very hard on myself, because I remember, at one point, and that's what I always tell people too, because I had to go through it, and there was a point in my life where I went like, yo, am I stupid? Because I remember it used to take me a minute. You could have a conversation with somebody, or somebody did something to you, or cloaking themselves, and you didn't quite see it at the moment. And then now you're reflecting on like, oh, that's what took place. I'm like, shit. I know for me, and that's why I always tell people, smart builds on smart. So that is a smart thing to do. It's the total opposite. You know what I'm saying? Smart people recognize when they're stupid. Trust me. You know what I'm saying? And because once you do, that's only when you really get to work on you. And that's what it was for me too. So I'm saying that to say, because there was another point that I also wanted to make. It's no, I mean, being hard on you, it's not the way to go neither. But I had to learn that. But when you truly become a self-disciple in terms of you being in alignment with you what like that what the people are calling discipline, that's nothing. You become that automatically. So that's why for me, and when you're trying to be hard on yourself too, you're using a lot of willpower or power of will. I mean, it doesn't really work. It sounds good. It's almost like you never see someone who's doing a diet, right? So they're doing the diet, it always never worked. But the person who's gonna make the difference is the nigga that got tired. That be like, you know what? Damn, man, I'm too fat, bro. I'm tired of this shit. Then now you align yourself, and that's your come up too. Oh man, Mike Tyson, this nigga. Mike, stop. Come on, man. That's my dog. You hear me? This nigga said the shit I know. Oh man. He said when you hit your rock bottom, that's when you're going up. I mean, a lot of people say it too, but it's almost like you feel like you're hitting rock bottom, but it's not really rock bottom that you're hitting. This is you on your way up, baby. So when you start to look at life from those perspectives, and that's what I tell people, you need to adopt the Godhead perspective of life. That's the wisdom. You have to become that. That's the true change that we're talking about here. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look at this brother, he became that. And now he's able to transmute his reality to a point where when you tell him, yo, jail, I mean, he's telling you his best time was in jail. Who says that? Think about it. I'll bet he wouldn't go back there though. Well, since that was the best time, sir, why don't you, go back to jail? Keep having those good times. I mean, he's not lying neither. I'm trying to tell you his elevation. When you find self, oh man, when you become in alignment with you, he purified everything around him. Nigga, he got it. You know what I'm saying? Shit. I love to see shit like that. That type of transformation, how you purifying your environment. And he's definitely not telling you for you to have your good time, you got to go to jail neither. But because it was in his worst time, he awakened to himself. That's what the nigga's talking about. And that's what makes it the most precious moment. And that's why, when you adopt the Godhead mentality, listen, you understand why you fall. You fall so you could get up. Your understanding of reality now has deeply shifted. Now you're co-creating with God. Now when people are saying people are dying, people, oh my God, look at what's happening, you're in a different reality. I mean, I'm not against these people. I hear you. I understand. In fact, let me pray that you get a better understanding of this reality, because there's so many different layers and levels in it. So although you're talking good, it sounds good, but I mean, I hope, there's a whole lot more to life than that. To the world for that. And if that's the only thing you zoom in, there's a lot of work that has to be done. But it sounds good. And that's when, you'll see people that saying, if there's really a God, why are we living this way? And I understand you don't understand God neither. And that's also because you don't understand yourself. But anyway, nevertheless, it all comes back to us. Yesterday I was smart. I wanted to change the world. But today I am wise. I'm changing myself. Haïtien. Mali.